Have you ever felt like a masterpiece hanging in the wrong gallery? A diamond buried in coal? A symphony playing to an empty auditorium, our value? And what happens when others fail to see it? Each one of us is born with a unique purpose. A divine design that sets us apart from every other person who has ever walked this earth. Too many of us are living lives that don't reflect that inherent value. We're settling for less. Accepting the crumbs when we should be feasting at the table of our full potential. Where are you investing your time, your energy, your passion? Are you in an environment that recognizes your worth? Or are you constantly fighting to prove your value, to justify your existence? This is not just about a job, a relationship, or a community. This is about the fundamental principle of alignment. When you're not valued, you're not aligned. And when you're not aligned, you can never fully express the greatness that lies within you. Staying where you're not valued is not a sign of loyalty. It's a sign of fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of starting over. Fear of admitting that you deserve better. But my friends, fear is the assassin of dreams. The thief of destiny. An eagle is not designed to live in a chicken coop. It's not meant to scratch around in the dirt, pecking at seeds. An eagle is designed to soar above the storms, to ride the winds of adversity, to look the sun in the eye without flinching. But what happens when an eagle is raised among chickens? It forgets its true nature. It begins to believe that the ground is its home, that the fence is its boundary, that the co-op is its destiny. Are you an eagle living in a chicken coop? Are you compromising your greatness because those around you can't see past their own limitations? Your value is not determined by other people's ability to see it. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It's not a democracy where people get to vote on how much you matter. Your value is intrinsic. It's God-given. It's hardwired into the very fabric of your being. While your value is not determined by others, the expression of that value often is when you're in an environment that doesn't recognize your worth. You're like a seed planted in infertile soil. You might sprout. You might even grow a little. But you'll never bloom into the magnificent tree you were meant to be. This is why leaving when you're not valued is not just an option, it's an obligation. An obligation to yourself, to your purpose, to the divine plan for your life. Because every moment you spend in a place that doesn't value you is a moment stolen from your destiny. If I leave and fail? What if I can't make it on my own? What if the grass isn't greener on the other side? These are valid concerns. But let me ask you this. What if you stay and succeed at the wrong thing? What if you become the best version of someone else's vision for your life? What if you reach the top of the ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall? Leaving is not about running away from something. It's about running towards something. It's about aligning yourself with your true purpose. With environments and people who recognize and nurture your unique gifts. A plant growing towards the light. It doesn't question whether it deserves the sunlight. It doesn't wonder if maybe it should stay in the shade because that's where it started. No, it instinctively grows towards what it needs to thrive. You need to be like that plant. Grow towards the light. Move towards the environments and people who see your value, who water your potential, who provide the nutrients for your growth. This is not about ego. This is not about demanding that the world bow to your every whim. This is about stewardship, your talents, your gifts, your potential. These are not just for you. They're for the world. When you stay in a place that doesn't value you, you're not just shortchanging yourself. You're robbing the world of the unique contribution only you can make. Imagine for a moment if Michelangelo had been forced to paint billboards instead of the Sistine Chapel. Imagine if Einstein had been stuck solving simple arithmetic instead of unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Imagine if Martin Luther King Jr. had been silenced by those who couldn't see the value of his dream. The world would be poorer for it, wouldn't it? In the same way, when you stay where you're not valued, the world loses out on the masterpiece that is you. Your ideas go unspoken. Your innovations remain just sparks in your mind. Your leadership potential stays dormant. And that, my friends, is a tragedy of cosmic proportions. Leaving when you're not valued doesn't always mean physically packing up and moving. Sometimes it means mentally and emotionally disconnecting from the opinions and expectations of those who don't see your worth. It means creating boundaries that protect your sense of self-worth. It means refusing to internalize the limiting beliefs of others. Not everyone will have the vision to see your potential. Not everyone will have the wisdom to recognize your worth. And that's okay. Your job is not to convince them. Your job is to be so firmly rooted in your own sense of value that their opinion becomes irrelevant. A tree doesn't beg for the sun to shine on it. It doesn't plead with the rain to fall on its leaves. It simply grows, reaching its branches towards the sky, digging its roots deep into the earth. And in doing so, it creates its own ecosystem. It provides shade. It offers fruit. It becomes a home for birds and insects. It doesn't do these things to prove its worth. It does these things because that's what trees do. In the same way, when you're firmly rooted in your sense of value, you naturally create value around you. You don't need to prove your worth. Your very existence becomes proof of your worth. This journey of valuing yourself and leaving environments that don't recognize your worth is not always easy. Not always comfortable. In fact, it can be downright terrifying, because when you decide to leave, you're stepping into the unknown. You're trading the familiar for the uncertain. You're choosing potential over security. And let me tell you, that takes courage. It takes faith. It takes a deep belief in yourself and in the purpose for which you were created. But my friends, that's where growth happens. That's where miracles occur. That's where you discover strengths you never knew you had. Talents you never knew existed within you. Butterfly, before it can spread its wings and take flight, it has to leave the safety of its cocoon. It has to break free from the very thing that once protected it. And that process is not easy. It's a struggle. But it's a necessary struggle. Because without that struggle, the butterfly's wings would never be strong enough to fly. When you leave an environment that doesn't value you, you might struggle at first. You might face challenges you've never encountered before. But in facing those challenges, in overcoming those obstacles, you're developing the strength you need to soar. Now, I want to address something that might be holding some of you back. You might be thinking, but I've invested so much time here. I've put in so much effort. If I leave now, won't all of that be wasted? This is what I call the sunk cost fallacy. It's the idea that we need to stick with something simply because we've already invested in it. The time you've already spent is gone. You can't get it back. The only thing you can control is how you spend your time moving forward. So the real question is this: knowing what you know now, would you choose to invest your future in this same environment? If the answer is no, then staying is not honoring your past investment. It's compromising your future potential. It's like continuing to water a dead plant, hoping it will somehow spring back to life, while neglecting the healthy seeds in your hand that are ready to be planted. Remember, your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is not a practice run. This is the main event. Every day that passes is a day you'll never get back. So doesn't it make sense to spend those days in environments that recognize your worth, that challenge you to grow, that align with your purpose? Fear is often what keeps us stuck in situations that no longer serve us. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of what others might think. Fear is often a signpost pointing towards your growth. When was the last time you felt truly alive? When was the last time you felt like you were growing, evolving, becoming more of who you were meant to be? I bet it was in a moment when you stepped out of your comfort zone, when you faced your fears head on. Comfort is the enemy of growth. When you're comfortable, you're not growing. When you're comfortable, you're stagnant. And stagnation is the first step towards decay. Just like a pool of still water becomes stagnant and breeds disease. A life without growth, without challenge, without the courage to step into the unknown, becomes a breeding ground for regret, resentment, and unfulfilled potential. So I want you to reframe your fear. Instead of seeing it as a stop sign, see it as a green light. See it as your inner wisdom telling you, this is where growth happens. This is where miracles occur. This is where you become more of who you were created to be. It's not up to you to decide to quit when you're not valued. It's about setting an example. It's about changing the narrative. It's about showing others what self-respect looks like in action. The people in your life who look up to you, your children, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues. What message are you sending them when you stay in an environment that doesn't value you? Are you teaching them to settle for less? Are you showing them that it's okay to compromise their worth for the sake of comfort or security? Or imagine the impact you could have by choosing to leave. Imagine the ripple effect of your courage. Imagine how you could inspire others to also step into their worth, to demand environments that recognize their value, to align themselves with their true purpose. When you choose to value yourself, when you refuse to settle for less than your worth, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world around you. You're raising the standard. You're showing others what's possible when we refuse to be defined by other people's limitations. Leaving when you're not valued is not about holding grudges. It's not about resentment or bitterness. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about gratitude and growth. Every experience in your life, even the ones where you weren't valued, has played a part in shaping who you are. Those experiences have taught you lessons. They've developed your resilience. They've clarified your values. So instead of resenting those experiences, be grateful for them. Be grateful for what they've taught you about yourself, about what you will and won't accept in your life. When you leave with gratitude instead of resentment, you're not burning bridges, you're building new ones. You're not closing doors, you're opening windows. Because who knows, the very people or environments that didn't value you before might one day recognize what they've lost. And if they don't, that's okay too, because you'll be too busy soaring to new heights to even notice. But isn't it selfish to prioritize my own value? Shouldn't I be more selfless, more giving? This is a common misconception. But it's one that can keep you trapped in situations that drain your potential. Valuing yourself is not selfish. In fact, it's the most selfless thing you can do. Because when you value yourself, when you align yourself with environments that recognize your worth, you become the best version of yourself. And the best version of you has so much more to give to the world. When you're on an airplane, what do they tell you about oxygen masks? They tell you to put your own mask on first before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. In the same way, when you're in an environment that doesn't value you, you're slowly running out of oxygen. You're depleting your energy, your passion, your sense of purpose. And in that depleted state, how much can you really offer to others? But when you're in an environment that recognizes your worth, that nurtures your potential, that aligns with your purpose, that's when you have an abundance to share. That's when you can truly make a difference in the lives of others. That's when you can pour out without running dry, because you're constantly being refilled. So valuing yourself, choosing environments that recognize your worth. This isn't selfish. This is stewardship. This is taking care of the gifts you've been given so that you can use them to their fullest potential. This is about becoming the best possible version of yourself so that you can offer your best to the world. One of the questions I often hear is, when is the right time to leave? And my answer is this: the right time is when you know. It's when you've reached that point where staying feels more painful than the fear of leaving. It's when you realize that the cost of staying is greater than the price of leaving. That moment of knowing. It doesn't always come as a loud, clear voice. Sometimes it's a quiet whisper. Sometimes it's a gentle nudge. Sometimes it's a growing sense of unease that you can no longer ignore. And that's why it's so important to listen to yourself, to tune into your inner wisdom. Your spirit knows when you're not in the right place. Your soul knows when you're settling for less than you're worth. Your inner being knows when you're out of alignment with your purpose. The question is, are you listening? Are you paying attention to those moments of frustration? Those feelings of being undervalued? Those dreams that keep nudging you towards something greater? Because those are not random. Those are not accidents. Those are signposts pointing you towards your true path. Leaving when you're not valued doesn't mean you'll never face challenges again. It doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy. In fact, it might become harder at first. You might face uncertainty. You might encounter obstacles you've never dealt with before. But here's the difference. Those challenges will be aligned with your growth. Those obstacles will be stepping stones towards your purpose, not roadblocks keeping you stuck in place. When you're exercising, it's not comfortable. Your muscles strain, your heart races, you sweat. But that discomfort is productive. It's making you stronger, healthier, more resilient. In the same way, when you step into an environment that values you, that challenges you to grow, you might face discomfort, but it's the kind of discomfort that leads to growth, that pushes you towards your potential. When you're aligned with your purpose, when you're in an environment that values you, you'll have the strength to face those challenges. You'll have the resilience to overcome those obstacles, because you'll be fueled by passion, driven by purpose, supported by people who see your worth. One of the fears that often holds people back from leaving environments that don't value them is the fear of failure. The fear that they won't succeed on their own. The fear that maybe, just maybe, they're not as valuable as they think they are. The greatest failure is not in trying and falling short. The greatest failure is in never trying at all. The greatest failure is in settling for less than you're worth, in compromising your potential, in allowing others' limited vision to define your reality. Success is not about reaching a certain position or achieving a particular status. Success is about becoming the fullest expression of who you were created to be. Success is about aligning your life with your purpose, about using your gifts to make a difference in the world, about living in a way that honors your inherent worth. When you step into environments that value you, when you align yourself with your purpose, success becomes almost inevitable. Not because it's easy, but because you're operating in your zone of genius. You're doing what you were designed to do. You're being who you were created to be. In this zone of genius, you'll find that your efforts yield exponential results. It's like the difference between rowing upstream and flowing with the current. when you're in an environment that doesn't value you. Every achievement feels like a struggle. Every step forward is met with resistance. But when you're aligned with your purpose, in a place that recognizes your worth, you'll find that doors open. Opportunities present themselves, and your impact multiplies. This is because when you're operating in your zone of genius, you're not just working, you're creating. You're not just performing tasks, you're expressing your unique gifts. And that expression has a power that goes beyond mere productivity. It has the power to inspire, to transform, to leave a lasting legacy. The great innovators and change makers throughout history, they didn't achieve their impact by conforming to environments that didn't value their unique vision. They dared to step out, to create new spaces where their ideas could flourish. They understood that sometimes, to fully express your value, you need to create the very environment that can recognize and nurture it. This brings us to an important point. Sometimes leaving when you're not valued doesn't mean physically departing. Sometimes it means transforming your current environment. It means having the courage to speak up, to challenge the status quo, to introduce new ideas that can shift the culture around you. Whether you choose to leave physically or to transform your environment from within. The first step is always the same. It starts with a decision. A decision to no longer accept less than your worth. A decision to align your life with your true purpose. A decision to honor the unique value that only you can bring to the world. This decision, my friends, is a declaration. It's a statement to the universe that you are ready to step into your full potential. It's a commitment to yourself that you will no longer shrink to fit into spaces that are too small for your dreams. Oh. Let me be clear. This decision doesn't mean that everything will magically fall into place overnight. It doesn't mean that you won't face doubts, setbacks, or moments of uncertainty. But what it does mean is that you've set a new standard for your life. You've drawn a line in the sand, and you're committed to moving forward, not backward. This commitment becomes your North Star, guiding you through the challenges that inevitably come with growth and change. It becomes the fuel that powers you through moments of doubt, the anchor that keeps you steady when the winds of uncertainty blow. Remember, this commitment isn't just about you. When you decide to honor your worth, to seek environments that value you, you're also making a statement about human dignity. You're setting an example that can inspire others to do the same. You're contributing to a world where people are encouraged to live up to their full potential, rather than shrinking to fit others' expectations. Leaving an environment that doesn't value you, whether physically or mentally, is a process. It's a journey of growth, of self-discovery, of realigning your life with your true purpose. This journey often begins with a period of reflection. It's a time to take stock of your gifts, your passions, your values. It's a time to reconnect with the dreams you may have put on hold, the aspirations you may have tucked away because they didn't fit into the environment you were in. During this reflection, it's important to be honest with yourself. What are the things that light you up, that make you lose track of time? What are the contributions you feel called to make to the world? What are the values that you're not willing to compromise? No matter what. This self-awareness becomes your compass, helping you navigate towards environments and opportunities that align with your true self. It helps you recognize the difference between opportunities that merely look good on paper and those that resonate with your soul. As you move through this process of transition, you may find yourself in a period of uncertainty. You may find yourself in what I like to call the messy middle. That space between where you are and where you're going. This can be an uncomfortable place, but it's also a place of immense potential. In this space of uncertainty, You're no longer constrained by the limitations of your old environment. But you haven't yet fully stepped into your new reality. This is a time of possibilities, a time of creation. It's in this space that you have the opportunity to redefine yourself, to explore new aspects of your potential, to experiment with new ways of expressing your value. During this time, it's crucial to surround yourself with supportive voices. Seek out mentors, allies, and communities that recognize your worth, that encourage your growth, that challenge you to become the best version of yourself. These supportive voices can provide guidance, encouragement, and sometimes the push you need to keep moving forward when things get tough. Remember, the path of growth is rarely a straight line. There will be twists and turns, ups and downs. There may be moments when you question your decision, when the comfort of the familiar calls to you. In these moments, reconnect with your why. Remind yourself of the reasons you chose to honor your worth, to seek environments that value you. Let those reasons reignite your commitment. Renew your resolve. You'll likely find that your definition of value evolves. You'll develop a deeper understanding of your worth that goes beyond external validation or material success. You'll begin to recognize the intrinsic value of your unique perspective, your lived experiences, your ability to impact others in ways that only you can. This evolving understanding of your value becomes a powerful filter through which you view opportunities and relationships. It helps you discern between environments that truly align with your purpose and those that merely offer surface-level benefits. It empowers you to make choices not just based on what you can get, but on what you can give, on where you can make the most meaningful impact. When you choose to honor your worth, when you seek environments that recognize your value, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life, you see. By valuing yourself, you give others permission to do the same. How many times have you been inspired by someone who had the courage to stand up for their worth, to pursue their dreams despite the odds? How many times has someone else's act of self-belief sparked something in you, made you reconsider what's possible in your own life? When you value yourself, you become a living example of what's possible when we honor our inherent worth. You become a beacon of hope for others who may be struggling in environments that don't recognize their value. Your journey becomes a testament to the power of aligning with one's purpose, of seeking spaces that nurture our potential. Moreover, when you operate from a place of self-value, you're better equipped to value others. You're more likely to create environments where others can thrive, to lead in ways that bring out the best in those around you. Your own journey of growth and self-discovery enhances your ability to recognize and nurture the unique gifts in others. This is how change happens, not just in individual lives, but in communities, in organizations, in societies. It starts with individuals who have the courage to honor their worth, to seek alignment with their purpose. These individuals then create ripples that gradually transform the environments around them, creating spaces where others can also step into their full potential. Remember, the decision to leave environments that don't value you, to seek alignment with your purpose, is a brave one. It's a decision that goes against the grain of societal expectations that often prioritize stability over growth, comfort over purpose. There may be people in your life who don't understand your decision. They may question your choices, express doubt, or even try to convince you to stay where you are. In these moments, it's crucial to remember that their reactions often have more to do with their own fears and limitations than with you. Extend compassion to these individuals, but don't let their limitations define your path. Understand that your growth may be uncomfortable for them because it challenges their own perceptions of what's possible. Your courage in valuing yourself may hold up a mirror to the compromises they've made in their own lives. At the same time, be patient and compassionate with yourself. Growth is not always a smooth process. There will be days when you doubt your decision, when the path ahead seems unclear. There will be moments when you stumble, when you face setbacks or disappointments. In these moments, remind yourself that these challenges are not signs of failure. They're opportunities for growth. They're chances to deepen your resilience, to refine your understanding of your purpose, to strengthen your commitment to your worth. Each obstacle you overcome, each moment of doubt you push through, each small victory you achieve, these are all part of your journey. They're all contributing to your growth, shaping you into the person you're meant to become. As you continue on this path, you'll likely find that your definition of success evolves. Success becomes less about external achievements and more about internal alignment. It becomes less about reaching a specific destination and more about who you're becoming in the process. You'll start to measure success not just by what you accomplish, but by how true you are to your values, how aligned you are with your purpose, how much you're growing and evolving. You'll find joy not just in reaching goals, but in the process of stretching yourself, of discovering new aspects of your potential. This shift in perspective is transformative. It frees you from the constant pursuit of external validation and allows you to find fulfillment in the journey itself. It enables you to appreciate the growth that happens in the quiet moments, in the challenges, in the times when you feel like you're not making progress, but you're actually deepening your roots. Remember that you're not just changing your own life, you're contributing to a larger shift. You're part of a growing movement of individuals who are choosing purpose over comfort, authenticity over conformity, growth over stagnation. Every time you honor your worth, every time you choose to align with your purpose, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. A world where people are encouraged to express their unique gifts. A world where environments nurture potential rather than stifle it. A world where success is measured not just in material terms, but in terms of meaningful impact and personal growth. Your journey becomes a thread in a larger tapestry of change. It interweaves with the journeys of others who are also choosing to honor their worth, creating a collective momentum towards a more conscious, more purposeful way of living and working. Valuing yourself, seeking environments that recognize your worth. This is not a one-time decision. It's a practice. It's a commitment you make to yourself every day, in big ways and small. It's in the boundaries you set, the opportunities you say yes to and those you say no to, the way you speak to yourself, the standards you uphold. It's in the courage to keep growing, to keep stretching beyond your comfort zone, to keep aligning your life with your deepest truths. This practice will reshape not just your external circumstances, but your internal landscape. It will transform not just where you are, but who you are. It will open up possibilities you may have never imagined. Connect you with people who resonate with your authentic self and lead you to opportunities that align with your unique gifts. Take a commitment to honor your worth, to seek environments that value you, to align your life with your true purpose. It won't always be easy, but I promise you, it will always be worth it. Remember, you are not just a worker, not just a role or a title. You are a unique expression of life itself, with gifts that only you can bring to the world. Honor that truth. Live from that place of inherent worth, and watch as your life transforms, as you step into the fullness of who you were created to be. It's time to value yourself enough to give it. It's time to leave the environments that don't recognize your worth and step into spaces that allow you to shine. Your journey of growth and purpose is not just a gift to yourself. It's a gift to the world. So go forth with courage, with determination, with an unwavering belief in your inherent worth. The path ahead may not always be clear, but your purpose will be your guide. Your commitment to your worth will be your strength. And the impact you're meant to make will be your reward. Remember, when you honor your worth, when you align with your purpose, you become a force of nature. You become unstoppable. So step into your power. Embrace your journey and let your light shine bright. The world needs what only you can give. It's time to rise, to soar, to become all that you were created to be. Your time is now. Let's make it count.